Good day, folks. This is James from James Moore's World Traveler. So today I'm going to talk about my Transat all-inclusive package of 7 nights, 8 days to the Royal Decameron Complex in Puerto Vallarta. So the 9 things I'm going to talk about today is things that I love about this place, and I will say about one thing that I didn't. Number 1. Visually appealing with different colors as well as several decorative items throughout the property, such as red, yellow, blue, peach, and a few different other colors. Very, very stunning colors, very bright, very visually appealing, as well as there's a chair in the center with some types of different figurines of people, as well as vases, which was by the buffet, as well as some ceramic, and they're all made of ceramic, from what I could tell, except for the chair, with birds as well. So that's awesome. So there's nothing negative about that I can really say. So there's nothing there. So number two, beautiful rooms that are all basic, with amenities. And
got a safe in here, closet. Let me turn this light on so it's a light shower. So come back over here. Let's shut that light off first. Here's the bench, TV, you know, all the usual fixings that you get. Oh, let's go back over here. A bed, nice and colorful. Nice little beach picture. And now I'm gonna go outside. Let's see here. Oh, gotta unlock it. Oh my God, it is like super humid. Oh my goodness, look at that view of the pool. 2 pools, well, 1 big pool. Which this is, I think, the adult area. It is super hot here today. Well, maybe it doesn't help this thing's here. That's pumping out hot air because of the keeping the interior cool. So I'm going to go back in just for a minute. I got to, get ready to just a quick look of the pool, or should I say the sleeping area and the pool. So I'm going to drop this one down now. So hope you guys enjoyed that, the look of the room. I know it's very simple, basic, but it's actually really nice. At the same time, the exterior, when you see outside, it's actually really nice.
And air conditioners. There was a downside to that. They were doing some renos, so to replace the air conditioners, and it was a little bit noisy. So trying to take a nap at one point or another when I did. Thankfully, I didn't have an issue with that. For the most part, but it was a little bit noisy, so that was a little bit of a downside. Number 3. This one is kind of a future thing, regarding the renovations. So as the renovations go on, you're going to have a nice steady cost potentially. They may have nicer units with better quality stuff within the units instead of old school. So that could be a really good thing in terms of getting quality for your money. But the downside to that is the potential increase of costs for the resort packages could potentially go up in the future. So that could be a downside. Number 4. This place is very close to a place called Bucerias, as well as the stop that you can go take to Sayulita, as well as a place that we called me and several other people that I was hanging out with while I was on property. We called it the Mexican Walmart, called Chedre. Sorry if I butchered that if you're Mexican or Spanish speaking, but Bucerias is very close. It's about a 20-minute walk from there, so that's a upside right there, with plenty of shopping to do. And of course, they have the general stuff of a small town, like you can eat if you want to, but if you're on a resort, you may not want to eat. But if you want to go out and eat something a little different, they do have some shops to eat as well. So quality of the merchandise at this place is much better. Much better. The downside uh, to several of these things is it's not best for shopping, except for Bucerias. There's not a downside to that per se, but for Bucerias, but for the traveling to Sayulita, the downside to going there is the shopping was bare minimum, unless you want to pay a lot more money for what you could get elsewhere. So that was the downside for that. And then even the Walmart, Mexican Walmart, not I keep saying Bisarias, but the Chedre. The downside to that is even though they have some good stuff to buy, if you're looking for small things, the T-shirts that they had there weren't the best for the amount they had there. It was expensive, so I didn't like to buy anything there. So that's the downside to that. Number 5. It's close to the beach. They also had locals that had souvenirs, so you didn't have to go that far from the resort to get that. The beach, of course, had a nice little walk, so I was able to walk down that beach, get some nice beach shots, and just be relaxed. Just calm myself down, just take a nice little walk. I walked up about a kilometer, and it was awesome. As well as if you're looking for shopping, they had like people with different types of souvenirs. They had a guy. There was a tent actually to the left of that main patio, beach patio, to have drinks. There was that little hut that they had for T-shirts and other items. So that was awesome. The downside to that, though, is unfortunately sometimes they bug you a little bit more than some people want. If they're just there to relax and they're not looking for shopping, it can be a pain in the butt. But that's the downside of being right on the beach for that. Otherwise, it's pretty good. Number 6. And I think the next couple ones are very similar. So I'm going to talk about the property that they're maintained nightly, meaning they just do some generalized cleaning and little things around the property to kind of tidy up the pool areas and all that stuff. I mean, they scrub the concrete patio area around where you would sit by the pool and different things like that. So it's fairly clean on the general part of the property, so that's good. The downside is they don't always clean everything, so it's not always the best in that sense. So I'm not going to say that it's like, for example, the pool area around the adult pool in building 5, it was a little dirty in the pool area. A little bit of oily film on the top of the water, which kind of made it look a little grungy, which I didn't realize at first until I actually looked closer and I noticed it was a little bit oily, and then they had some, a little bit of natural debris, so it made it a little bit not so nice. And so yeah, that's that. So number 7, as I said before, the this kind of goes with the one I just said, but I'm going to expand on it a little bit. So the resort was fairly clean, and it was a good quality service. The quality of the people there when I was there were really good. Like, you asked for a drink, they would give it to you based on what you wanted, generally speaking. Um, they had people going around picking up the, like, out of the, you can smoke on the lounge chairs so that people that smoke didn't have to go anywhere else. So, bam, you could smoke, and they'd have people going around picking up that litter and stuff like that. That's casually needing to be cleaned up. So doing that, and but the downside, as I was saying, um, the adult pool and even some of the kids pools, being the kids pools were a lot more busier. I noticed that it was a little bit oily and dirty, as I said about the adult pool. Same thing here. Both areas were fairly dirty, so it was kind of not so good to that degree. So that was the downside, negative. So number 8, they had 3 buffet, 5 a la cartes, and 7 bars. If you like to drink, I didn't, but I did drink non-alcoholic drinks. So I had many areas that I can go and grab one from any bar. There wasn't that far from wherever I was at. As well as the a la cartes, there was 5. One, I'm going to name the 5. Piccolo, which is Mediterranean food. Wok, which was Thai. Jap, Japanese. Radizio, that's the one I tried, which was really good, by the way. If you like grilled meats. And lastly, Mexican, which is a Caribbean fusion. I only tried the one of the 5. Unfortunately, I didn't really have the time to do all of them, and so I didn't get a chance to try more than the one. But for the buffet, they had 3 different buffets. I only had the one, but the 3 are called Tropical, Flamingo, or Flamingos, and Royal, or sorry, Royal, not Royale, because that would have been easy, but it's Royal. So, so the 3 bars, or sorry, the 3 buffets. They have a good mix of stuff, so you get a good quality mix of stuff throughout the day. Each day, sometimes they'd have similar stuff, but then they'd mix it up and have different stuff as well. So sometimes you get a little bit different each day. Sometimes it would be the same, certain types of product, food, but each day was a little bit different as well. So that's a good side of it. The The downside of that was I didn't always have enough time to eat. to these places. 7 nights is not a lot of time unless you're just sticking to the thing, to the resort. Then yes, you'd have more time. But me, I like to go out away from the place, so I spent several days away on a tour, as well as going to. I spent a half morning just walking over to pizzerias, so I didn't have a lot of time that morning to early mid morning kind of thing. So I didn't have a lot of time to book anything. Um, and another downside with that as well, I'm going to give you one more downside with that one, is that you have to be there at like 7:30 in the morning, uh, in the general area of, it's just off the general area of the um, lobby where you can do Wi-Fi, and that lobby just off to the side where you would get your optional excursions and stuff like that. There's some chairs around the corner. Unfortunately, the downside, they're kind of archaic. They literally make you sit there. They talk in English and Spanish, which is not bad, but they make you listen to both. And then they just like, okay, come up one at a time. So it was a little bit of a downside in that sense, whereas a lot of other places that are more updated, you would just book with a person first thing in the morning and they'd be there for a few hours. It was kind of a pain for that. So that was a downside there too. So last but not least, excursions. The excursions that you would get, they're sitting in a lobby area, okay? And it's through, for me, it was through Transat. So they used a third party company by the name of Vallarta Adventures. And they have many styles, types of excursions, from sea adventure, adrenaline, with dolphins and sea lions, to scuba, culture, um, stage acts, and other private tours. Um, so they have a nice mix of that. The one I took was about a 7 hour tour by the name of Islas Marietas Eco Discovery. Again, Islas Marietas Eco Discovery Tour. It was 89 USD, about 115, $120, depending on the dollar, right? It was a fairly good tour, I will say, but except for a couple things which I'll get to in just a second. Um, for the price of it, now I'll get to the prices and stuff like that. The downside was the prices were a little high on some of the stuff, especially for somebody who's on a limited budget. They didn't really have a lot to choose from for limited budgets, because I guess they assume that everybody has a lot of money. So in that sense, it was a downside. If you have a lot of money, then you have a good choice to choose from. So it's not always a downside, but for me, the prices could be high, especially for somebody like me who's limited in finances at times. So that was a pain. As for the excursion itself, though it was a really good tour, the beauty of the beach after the snorkeling side of it was kind of a downside. It was fairly dirty water. I mean, it's an ocean, but I didn't like the debris in it. It was a lot of natural debris and some human debris. Uh, so it was kind of not the greatest tour. Uh, Part of it was good, the quality of it, and I'll give you a couple examples of what was good about it. The island that we went to was gorgeous. The beach, beautiful. as well as the coolness of them. Like, we'd have dinner, like a lunch dinner, and they fed us. So that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, unless you're a drinker, they basically mostly catered to the people who drink. They didn't really even go out of their way to ask me if I wanted a drink, so I found that was also a downside. So here I'm sitting here, not even getting a drink. I guess I could have asked them, but so I'm gonna say that that was the downside to it. I just didn't like how they did that. So I will say that was a downside unless you like to drink. So that I will say is a plus for somebody who drinks. So I'm kind of like going back and forth between the two. And I'm saying that because it's kind of like giving you a good and a bad, good and a bad. Even though I said I was going to give you one, I kind of wanted to give you an idea on what was what with that. So that was 9. So one thing I will say overall, I'm just going to give one final detail about the overall gist of everything. The resort, I found was really good, except for a few things that I said that were downside. Um, it was a very good place to go to see at least one time. That was completely different than when I was in Cancun. If you did see my video with Cancun, I found that area was a lot nicer in that sense, but it's also completely different on this side. So you get a whole different type of look from that side of the world of Mexico to this side of Mexico. So there's good and bad. But overall, the quality of this package I found was fairly good. I would recommend it if you're looking for just something a little different than going to Cancun or other areas of Mexico. Very safe to go to. So, overall, I would say that this package to this resort was definitely worth it. And so, I think that's all I really wanted to say. I appreciate that everybody listens to this. If you can give it a thumbs up, um, hit the subscribe button. Comment on my video. I hope everybody appreciates this video, and I hope that I can give some quality advice on this. If there's anything you want to know that maybe I didn't say, or maybe you misunderstood what I'm saying, or anything, it doesn't matter. Let me know. I'm more than willing to let you know in more detail. Just shoot me a message on this video, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a good one.